Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. I hope you had a great day. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe to the channel for more content. And now, let's begin with the first story.
The first story is called Incompetent Boss. I have worked a lot of bad jobs in my life, but I left home at 19 and needed a job to pay rent while I was at uni. I worked for a massive supermarket chain. These stores are horribly managed, usually understaffed, and they don't care about their workers. The job wasn't glamorous. I cleaned departments after they closed. Now, this company has absolutely zero regard for the safety of its workers. Over my 4 years with the company, I had many accidents, some even major. As I said, poorly managed and understaffed. As a result of the horrible working conditions, they had trouble finding long-term employees, and I ended up training someone for whichever store a couple of times a month. Eventually, I decided to move on as I'd saved a bit of money and took some advice from friends and let the fear be my motivation. So I gave my 2 weeks notice, over the phone, text, and email just to be 100% sure they got the memo. The manager was John. John was the epitome of incompetence. He would come to train me on a new way to clean chicken ovens and then complain he was getting grease on his new $500 shoes. He once came in as support during a particularly busy period but wouldn't help because despite being in his mid to late 30s, he still lived with his mother, who did all his washing, and she didn't like it when he came home dirty. Finally, after 4 years of working hard and requesting a transfer to a different department, I just quit. As previously mentioned, I gave plenty of notice and went above and beyond to ensure he knew. As my last 2 weeks pass, everyone in the store knows I am leaving and I am expecting to train my replacement any day, but no one shows up. Now I work alone and there was only one other guy doing my job on the nights I wasn't at work, but he got lots of complaints and by all accounts wasn't very good. So I've worked my last day and said my goodbyes and I'm already employed with another company. The Sunday after my last day rolls around and I normally have a 9-hour shift. I work alone. Then I get a call from John. He says, "Hi, I was just wondering why you didn't show up to your shift today?" I told him, "Sorry John, I don't work for you anymore." He was surprised and said, "What? I thought your end date was some day a few weeks away." So I tell him, "No, as per our phone call, my text, and my email, my last day was a few days ago." He didn't really had anything more to say, so I said sorry and hung up. It was the most satisfying moment of my life. Several months later, I got a call from another store, asking if I could work a shift there. The next story is called, I Don't Work at This Store. A decade ago, I worked as the resident technician at Staples. I repaired computers for our store's customers. Our uniform was khakis and a black polo with a lime green collar and company name and logo on the chest. I got off shift and headed over to Best Buy to look at DVDs. While I'm there, I spot a regular customer of mine. She was an odd duck, but very sweet and used to being treated poorly because of the way she dressed, even though she was just a little old lady in Maine. She just liked her weird clothes and outrageous makeup and nails. Anyway, she knows I don't work at Best Buy but couldn't get anyone to help her. I wasn't doing anything important, and she had bought hundreds of dollars of stuff from me over the last few months, so I started my sales questions. I like to know what people are looking for, what they intend to use the product for, and a price range. Often people insist they need one thing, but actually need something completely different, and it's easier to ask rather than do exchanges. We go to the computer section and I try to find an associate while helping her. We hop on a demo laptop and I do a Best Buy search for things she might be interested in. What she wanted didn't appear to be in stock, so I switch over to the Staples site to see if we had it in stock. We did have it and I told her I'd meet her at the store as soon as I finished buying DVDs. I said maybe 20 minutes as my store was only a mile or so down the road from the mall. She left and I got into the line. All of a sudden, I get yanked out of line by a man I've never seen in floor manager attire. He proceeds to drag me to another register and I'm thinking this is a rude way to open a new lane. He pulls me behind the register and tells me to open up and start ringing up customers. I just have a stupid look on my face as I don't know what's happening. I try to say that I don't work there, but he isn't listening. A couple of people are staring at us from other lines. I say I can help if they really need it, but I don't know how to work their system and I shouldn't be handling money since I don't work there. He gets all huffy, obviously not really listening. He punches in his code to unlock the register and walks off. I turn to look around bewildered. A few people are snickering. The cashier right next to that lane said, "What was that?" I replied that I had no clue. I asked to speak to a manager. A call went out over the speaker system and the same person came back and yelled at me for not working. I asked for his boss. He threw a tantrum, but the cashier called the store manager on her own as they obviously saw that their floor manager was off their rocker. The general manager comes over and asks what I'm doing behind a register, and I said I didn't know, I was just trying to buy 2 movies. The general manager said that I shouldn't be trying to check myself out, and I said I wasn't trying to. The floor manager keeps spouting off that the new hires are awful. Then it clicks for the big boss. I lay out the story, including how the register was unlocked for me and how I could have just emptied the register and taken off. He lays into the floor manager, pointing out my uniform to a competing store with a different color scheme. The floor manager realized how stupid they had been and was told to wait in the general manager's office. I got my stuff rung up and paid for at the register they had stuck me at, and I headed back to Staples. All in all, I spent an hour there. It was a funny story to tell the lady waiting at Staples. My boss even had me log back in to ring her out and said he would log me out in an hour so I would get paid for the time I spent making a sale in my off time. The third story is called Police Mistake. In the 1990s I was a TV news stringer, a freelance news cameraman, in San Francisco. I would listen to the police scanners mounted in my car and rush to the scene of breaking news stories, where I would get my video camera out, record news footage, and sell it to the local TV stations. One night, I heard the police get called to a crime scene. I scooted over there, parked, and got my camera out of my trunk just as a couple of detectives pulled up. I should explain that my camera was a mid-sized industrial model, not one of those huge multi-$1,000 broadcast models that only the TV stations could afford. The detectives spotted me holding my gear and motioned me over to the house where the crime had taken place and held the door open for me to enter. I was flabbergasted. This has never happened to me before. Usually, when the cops see me show up, they start throwing up police line tape to keep me and my camera as far back as they can. This is a very unexpected welcome, but I'll take it. I walk in, shoot a wide, establishing shot, get a couple of medium shots, and about then, in walks another cameraman with a camera about the same size as mine. Only that he is wearing a badge on his belt. Everyone looks at him, and then they all turn and look at me. Someone finally breaks the silence by asking me, "Who are you?" I respond, "TV News." The officers who had held the door open for me blanch and give each other a look as they realize their mistake. He says, "You shouldn't be in here." I say, "No problem," and leave. Just to be clear, I did not include the footage that I managed to shoot inside the crime scene in the package I sold to the TV stations. If I had, I am sure that several hard-working police officers would have gotten into trouble. No need for that to happen. I suspect that decision on my part was appreciated, as I ran into the same cops at other scenes in the following years and they always treated me both friendly and fairly. In fact, I got a call or 3 over the years suggesting that I and my camera might want to be at a particular place at a particular date and time, almost always resulting in me getting exclusive footage of this or that major bust. The last story is called Guy Ends Up in Cuffs. When I was younger, I had a job at a small market in our city's central. Usually, you can work there from age 15 to 17, but as soon as you turn 18, you will most likely get fired, as once you turn 18 your salary increases a lot. For the past 2 years, I worked at the same shop sitting at the desk, but since I was nearing age 18, I knew I couldn't stay. This meant I knew you was about to get fired, and sure enough, a week before I turned 18, I was told I was fired. I told the boss that I knew why, and that it was understandable. The small shop needed to save as much money as possible, since the income and profit were already low, for being a local city market, and not some big shopping center. I got a bonus for being fired and decided to keep this bonus to use on something special. One day weeks later, I see that the same shop just got some extremely expensive and unique food products, imported from around the world. Out of pure curiosity, I went there to buy some myself. I arrived at a really busy shop having many customers wanting to buy all these special beers, sausages, and so on, but I had set my eyes on this one thing. I live in the EU and American candy isn't really being sold much in my country, so I was drooling from the thought of getting to try some of these big products I hear about on the internet. I went to take some of the candy and put it in my basket, and I hear the male Karen. He was one of the greedy customers we had. When I still worked there, whenever there was a discount or something special, he just took as much as he could, not letting other customers buy some. It got so bad that we needed to put an "each customer may only purchase this amount of this product" sign on some of our specialty products. He then goes up to me and says, "Are you packing these away already?" I said, "No, I was picking these for myself." He says, "But you are still working, you can purchase some when you're free from work." So I told him, "Sorry, but I don't work here anymore." He insists, "Yes, you do, I saw you some weeks ago at the counter." So I explained, "I recently got fired since I turned 18. But he wasn't having it. "Don't lie or I will call your boss and get you in serious trouble for stealing the products that are meant for the customers." So I said, "You can call him, it's not a joke, I really got fired since I turned 18. He then began screaming about how I was being disrespectful, and how I shouldn't be working in the store anymore, how I was stealing and packing away special products from the customers so they couldn't buy any. I was getting pretty angry at this guy since we all already knew that he was a sour, bitter old man. But the boss always kept telling me that he was a good, loyal, paying customer. I always wanted to say, screw it, and say something whenever he went hoarder mode and bought all the specialty products. I told the guy to call my former boss and ask him if I still worked here. Out of nowhere, this greedy idiot starts to take things out of my basket where I had my products. He said, "These don't belong to you." I started to scream at him for being so entitled and disrespectful, saying that he was the whole issue since I already admitted that I didn't work there. I then stopped screaming in the old man's face as I saw 2 police officers walk down towards us. I got pale because it looked really bad since I was just done screaming. The police officer then holds up his hand to grab my attention. I just stare at him. Meanwhile, the guy decides to slap me in the face and punch me in the stomach, making me drop the basket I was holding. It didn't really hurt, it just took me by surprise. The 2 police officers then went from walking and holding eye contact with me, to running at us looking at the guy. They handcuffed him and called for the boss, confirming with the camera, which has sound, that he was being a douche, and that I told him that I didn't work at the store anymore. The officers told me they had a call from one of the bypassing customers, which got worried because they heard stealing being yelled in the store, and the guy causing a tantrum. I left with my American candy that day, and an apology from the boss, saying they should have done something about him before this happened. Apparently, this wasn't the first time the guy left the store in cuffs. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content. Have a great day. Bye bye.